All right, so get ready, because today we are diving into some seriously mind-bending stuff. We're talking time-space and space-time, according to the Law of One. I'm already fascinated by this stuff, and you sent over the Law of One books, plus your own notes on all this, and wow, it looks like you've been spending a lot of time trying to, crack the code of reality.
Yeah, it's a fascinating area to explore for sure. The Law of One, this group consciousness that communicates through channeling, it offers such a unique perspective on these dimensions and, really what they mean for how we understand reality itself.
Okay, so can we start with just like a super quick recap of what the Law of One is about?
Yeah, so the Law of One, it presents itself as a collective consciousness from like a higher density or dimension, and they're channeling wisdom through a human intermediary. And, their primary message is one of unity. That's like the big takeaway, emphasizing that everything is interconnected, all things. They view the universe as a unified field of consciousness where everything is ultimately connected.
Okay, so that's interesting. How does that idea of unity tie into their concepts of time-space and space-time?
Well, they use these terms to describe different aspects of reality. So, space time is the dimension that we're the most familiar with. It's the world of physical matter, linear time, and cause and effect. So, space time is where we experience life as a sequence of moments, one leading to the next.
Like watching a movie frame by frame.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Each frame is like a moment in time, and we experience life as that progression of frames.
Okay, that makes sense. But then there's time-space, which sounds a lot more mysterious.
Yeah, time space is kind of like the metaphysical counterpart to space time. It's a realm where time is not linear, it's where all events and possibilities exist simultaneously.
So instead of a movie reel, it's like seeing the entire script laid out at once.
That's a great way to visualize it, yeah. In time space, all possibilities, all incarnations, all experiences exist concurrently. It's the realm of pure potentiality.
Wow, okay, that's a lot to process. So if all of time is happening at once in time-space, why don't we experience it that way? Why are we stuck in this linear, frame-by-frame reality?
Well, the law of one suggests that there's a veil separating our conscious and unconscious minds. And this veil is what creates the illusion of linear time and separation.
So it's like we're wearing these cosmic blinders that limit our perception.
Yeah, you could say that. The law of one suggests that before the veil, beings had a greater understanding of their true nature and a much clearer connection to the unity of all things.
That's fascinating. It makes me wonder, why would such a veil exist in the first place? Like, what's the purpose of limiting our awareness like that?
Well, the law of one describes the veil as part of the grand experiment of third density. It's designed to facilitate free will and to accelerate our spiritual evolution.
Experiment. So are we like part of some kind of cosmic science project?
In a sense, yeah. The veil creates the illusion of separation, which allows us to experience duality and make choices. This process of choosing, learning from those experiences, and ultimately evolving, it's seen as a crucial part of our spiritual growth.
Okay, I can see how that would make things more interesting.
Yeah.
But if revealed from time-space, does that mean it's completely inaccessible to us? Like, no peeking allowed?
Not necessarily. The law of one suggests we can have glimpses of time space, even while we're incarnate in space time.
Okay, so how do we catch a glimpse behind the curtain?
Well, think about things like deep meditation, lucid dreaming, even those really profound experiences that people report during like near death events. These altered states of consciousness, they can temporarily thin the veil, allowing us to perceive aspects of time space that are usually hidden from us.
Oh, interesting. So it's like those moments of clarity where you suddenly see connections that you hadn't noticed before, or when you have a dream that feels incredibly real and meaningful.
Yeah, exactly. And the law of one suggests that the more we cultivate these practices and the more we expand our awareness, the more readily we can access this expanded reality.
Fascinating. Now, you mentioned something earlier about the veil being part of the third density experiment. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? What exactly is a density, and where do time, space, and space-time fit into all of this?
So, densities, according to the law of one, are different levels of spiritual evolution or awareness. And we currently exist in third density, which is characterized by self awareness and the development of free will. As we evolve, we move through higher densities, each characterized by an even greater understanding of unity, love, and the interconnectedness of all things.
So it's like leveling up in a video game.
Yeah, it's a simplified analogy, but I think it captures the idea of progression. The law of one suggests that in higher densities, the veil gradually dissolves, and we experience a greater merging of space-time and time-space.
So the lines between these dimensions start to blur.
Yes, Exactly. In higher densities, our perception of time and space, it becomes more fluid. We gain greater understanding of the interconnectedness of all things, and we experience a deeper sense of unity with the creator.
That sounds pretty amazing. But I think we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
Let's bring it back to our current reality for a moment. You mentioned that the veil was designed to facilitate free will.
hmm
How does that work exactly? How does the veil affect our choices?
Okay, well, the veil creates the illusion of separation, and this allows us to experience duality, the interplay of light and darkness, good and evil, love and fear. This duality presents us with choices, and the choices that we make, they shape our individual and our collective reality.
So it's like we're playing a game where we have to figure out the rules as we go along.
That's a great analogy. I like that. The veil kind of obscures our inherent unity, and it presents us with a world of seemingly distinct choices. So this process of choosing, learning, and evolving through our choices, it's seen as a crucial part of our spiritual growth.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this all ties together. But if our choices are shaped by the veil, are they truly free? Or are we just puppets dancing to the tune of some cosmic program?
That's a question that goes right to the heart of the free will versus destiny debate. The law of one suggests that both play a role in our journey. We have the free will to choose our path, but certain events or crossroads in our lives, they may be predestined to serve as catalysts for our growth.
So it's like we're given a roadmap, but we have the freedom to choose how we navigate the terrain.
Exactly, yeah. We're not just passive passengers on this journey. We have the power to steer the ship, even if the currents and winds sometimes push us in unexpected directions.
This is making me think about all those times I've felt stuck or lost in life. Is it possible that I was bumping up against those predestined crossroads, those moments designed to challenge me and push me to grow?
The law of one would certainly suggest that's possible. Yeah, those moments of challenge, even if they feel difficult or painful in the moment, they can be incredible opportunities to learn, to evolve, and to align more fully with our soul's purpose.
Okay, that's a reassuring thought. But let's get back to time, space, and space-time for a moment. We've talked about how they're different dimensions, but how do they actually interact? Do they ever overlap or influence each other?
Well, the law of one suggests that space-time and time-space are constantly interacting, although we're mostly unaware of it because of the veil. However, there are certain places or structures that can act as conduits between these dimensions.
Conduits, like portals to other realms.
You could think of it that way.
Yeah.
The Law of One specifically mentions the pyramids, particularly the Great Pyramid of Giza, as powerful energy conduits. They're designed to facilitate access to higher dimensions, including time-space.
Wait, are we talking about ancient aliens and time travel here?
Not necessarily, no. The Law of One's explanation is more nuanced than that. They suggest that the pyramids were built with a specific geometry and alignment that allows them to amplify and direct energy in a way that facilitates communication between densities and dimensions.
Oh, it's like the pyramids are giant antennas tuning into cosmic frequencies that are usually beyond our reach.
That's a great analogy, yeah. They act as focal points, amplifying energy and intention, which can then allow for extraordinary experiences and insights.
Okay, I'm officially intrigued. But hold on, you mentioned that the pyramids can facilitate access to time-space.
Mm.
What does that actually look like? Can we just walk into a pyramid and suddenly experience all of time happening at once?
It's not quite that simple. The Law of One describes specific chambers within the pyramids, particularly the King's Chamber in the Great Pyramid, as spaces where initiates could experience heightened awareness and even commune with beings existing in time-space.
So it's like a cosmic conference room where we can meet with beings from other dimensions.
Yeah, it's a simplification, but you get the idea. The pyramid acts as a bridge between these realms, allowing for communication and interaction that is usually beyond our current capabilities.
This is blowing my mind. But how is any of this relevant to us, regular folks living our everyday lives? Does understanding time, space, and space-time really change anything?
That's a great question, and it's one we'll delve into more deeply in the next part of our deep dive. But for now, I'll leave you with this thought. If time-space is the realm of infinite possibilities, and if we can access it, even in glimpses, what might that mean for our understanding of ourselves, our potential, and the very nature of reality?
That's definitely something to ponder. I'm ready to keep exploring. I'm still reeling from that last segment, pyramids as cosmic antennas. That's some next-level stuff. But you kind of left us with a bit of a cliffhanger. So how does understanding these dimensions actually impact our lives? Like, does it really change anything?
Well, it can be profoundly transformative, actually. Remember, the Law of One emphasizes that we are not just physical beings, navigating a material world. We're also spiritual beings existing in this multidimensional reality.
Okay, but how does that translate into everyday life?
Well, it invites us to reconsider the nature of our experiences, I think. Think about those times when you felt like a deep sense of connection with something larger than yourself. Those moments of synchronicity or intuition that seem to defy any kind of logical explanation.
Oh, yeah. I've definitely had those moments, like when you run into someone you were just thinking about or,
Sure.
something's going to happen before it does.
Exactly. So the law of one would suggest that these experiences could be glimpses of time-space bleeding through, moments when the veil thins and we catch a glimpse of that interconnectedness of all things.
That's really interesting. So it's not just about understanding these concepts intellectually, it's about recognizing how they actually manifest in our lives.
Exactly. And the more we can cultivate awareness of those subtle connections, the more we can tap into the wisdom and guidance that's available to us from higher realms.
Okay, I could see how that would be empowering.
Yeah.
But how does this understanding actually help us navigate the challenges of life,
Yeah.
the day-to-day stuff?
We'll consider the concept of free will again. The law of one suggests that we have the power to choose our path, of course, but also that certain events or crossroads in our lives may be predestined to serve as catalysts for our growth.
Oh, so it's like we're writing our own story. But there's certain plot points we can't avoid.
Yeah, that's a really helpful way to think about it. We're not just reacting to external circumstances, we're actively co-creating our reality through our choices and our responses to those predestined events.
This is making me think about those times in my life that just felt really difficult or painful. I used to think of them as setbacks or failures. But now I'm wondering if they were actually those predestined crossroads, the ones pushing me in a new direction or teaching me something valuable.
The law of one encourages us to view challenges as opportunities for growth and learning. It's often through those difficult experiences that we gain the most profound insights and
So
wisdom.
instead of resisting those challenges, we should try to embrace them as opportunities for transformation.
Exactly, and understanding the interplay of space-time and time-space can really help us reframe those experiences. Instead of feeling trapped in this linear timeline of setbacks and failures, we can recognize that we're actually navigating a multidimensional reality where all possibilities exist.
Okay, that's starting to shift my perspective a bit. But
Yeah.
what about those situations that feel totally out of our control? Like when someone we love gets sick or there's a natural disaster. How does the law of one explain those kinds of events?
Well, the law of one suggests that even those seemingly random or chaotic events, they can serve a higher purpose within the grand tapestry of our soul's journey.
So there's a reason for everything, even the things that feel so unfair or tragic.
It's not about assigning blame or finding a simple explanation for every event. It's about recognizing that we're part of this larger web of interconnectedness,
Hmm.
and that every experience, even the painful ones, can contribute to our growth and evolution.
Okay, I'm trying to wrap my head around this. So even those moments of utter chaos and despair are somehow woven into the fabric of our spiritual journey.
The law of one encourages us to look beyond the surface level of events and recognize the deeper patterns and lessons that are unfolding. It's about trusting that even amidst the chaos, there's an underlying order and purpose.
This is making me think about the whole concept of karma. If our choices create ripples across time, does that mean we're constantly creating karmic consequences?
Well, the law of one views karma not as a system of punishment or reward, but rather as a natural consequence of our actions. It's about maintaining balance within the universe. Every action has a reaction, and those reactions, they create a ripple effect that extends across time and space.
So it's like a cosmic boomerang. What we send out comes back to us.
It is a helpful analogy, but
Okay.
it's important to remember that karma operates not just on an individual level, but also on a collective scale.
So the actions of humanity as a whole create a kind of collective karma.
Exactly. We're all interconnected, and our choices, both individually and collectively, they shape the reality that we experience. Understanding this interconnectedness can really help us make more conscious choices, recognizing that our actions impact not only ourselves, but also the world around us.
Okay, that's a lot to ponder. But I'm starting to see how this time-space perspective can offer a deeper understanding of things like karma, free will, even the very nature of reality. It's like suddenly the boundaries of time are dissolving and everything's connected.
That's the essence of the law of one's teachings. It's about recognizing the unity, the love light that binds us all across time and space. And this understanding can be incredibly empowering because it reminds us that we're not just these isolated individuals struggling against the odds. We're part of something much larger and more magnificent than we can even imagine.
That's a beautiful thought. But if time-space is all about unity and simultaneity, what happens to that sense of individuality? Do we just merge back into the cosmic soup?
That's where the Law of One offers a truly profound perspective. They suggest that individuality is not lost in that journey toward unity, but rather, it's enhanced and refined. We don't cease to exist as individuals, but we come to understand ourselves as unique expressions of the Creator, each contributing our own special gifts and talents to this symphony of creation.
So it's not about becoming homogenous. It's about each of us contributing our unique essence to the whole.
Exactly. And as we evolve through the densities, our individuality becomes more and more radiant, expressing the love light of the Creator in these ever more brilliant ways. It's like we're all facets of this giant, multidimensional jewel, each reflecting the light in our own unique way.
That's a beautiful image. It makes me think about the whole concept of ascension. Is that what we're ultimately working towards?
Yeah.
Merging our individuality with the unity of time-space?
Ascension, according to the Law of One, is the process of graduating from one density of consciousness to the next. As we ascend, we experience an increasing sense of unity, love, understanding. And those boundaries between space-time and time-space become increasingly blurred.
So it's like leveling up in a cosmic video game. But instead of gaining new powers, we're expanding our consciousness and our capacity for love.
That's a good way to put it. And the Law of One emphasizes that ascension is not a solitary pursuit. It's a collective journey. The choices we make, the love we express, the service we offer, it all contributes to the collective upliftment of consciousness.
So we're all in this together, even though it sometimes feels like we're on our own.
Absolutely. And that realization can be incredibly liberating. It reminds us that we're not just these tiny specks of consciousness floating in this vast and indifferent universe. We're all part of this grand and interconnected tapestry woven together by love and light.
Okay, that's incredibly inspiring. But let's bring it back to time-space for a moment. If we ascend to a higher density, does that mean we leave behind the limitations of space-time completely? No more physical bodies, no more linear time?
Well, the Law of One's description of higher densities is fascinating. They suggest that as we ascend, we gain greater mastery over both space-time and time-space, experiencing reality in a more fluid and expansive way. We're not necessarily bound by the same rules of physics and limitations that we experience here.
So we can like bend time and space to our will.
It's not so much about bending reality, I think,
Hmm.
but about experiencing it with a greater awareness of its interconnectedness and potentiality. So the boundaries between the physical and the metaphysical, they become increasingly blurred, and we experience a greater sense of freedom and creativity.
Okay, that sounds amazing. But how do we even begin to grasp the nature of these higher realms when we're so deeply immersed in our current reality? It's like trying to imagine a color you've never seen before.
That's where the Law of One's teachings become so valuable, I think. They offer us these glimpses into the nature of these higher densities, encouraging us to expand our awareness and embrace the infinite possibilities that lie beyond our current perceptions. It's like they're giving us this sneak peek at what's to come, inspiring us to keep evolving and growing.
This is making me think about those near-death experiences people report,
Mm.
where they describe encountering these realms of pure light and love. Could those be glimpses of higher densities?
The Law of One would certainly suggest that's a possibility. Yeah, those experiences, even filtered through the limitations of human language, they can offer us powerful insights into the nature of our soul journey and the potential that awaits us.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. This is so much to take in. But it's incredibly inspiring. It's like suddenly the universe has become this much more magical and mysterious place.
That's the beauty of exploring these concepts, I think. The Law of One invites us to question our assumptions, expand our awareness, and embrace the mystery and wonder of the universe. It reminds us that we're not just here to survive, but to thrive, to evolve, and to contribute our unique essence to this grand symphony of creation.
I love that analogy. We're all part of this cosmic orchestra, each playing our own instrument and contributing to this harmonious melody. But I have to ask, if time-space is all about unity, how did this whole separation, this duality of positive and negative polarity, how did that even come about? Weren't we all just one big, happy cosmic family back in the day?
That's a question that takes us to the very heart of the Law of One's cosmology, and one we'll explore more deeply in the final part of our deep dive.
I can't wait. This is a cosmic journey I'm definitely glad to be on. Okay, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive into time-space and space-time, according to the Law of One. And we've covered so much ground already, it's kind of amazing. From pyramids as cosmic antennas to the idea of karma as like a cosmic boomerang. But there's one big question that we kind of left hanging. How did this whole separation, this duality of positive and negative polarity. How did that even come about? And weren't we all just one big, happy cosmic family back in the day?
Yeah, that's a question that takes us right to the core of the Law of One's cosmology. And remember, their primary message is one of unity. They describe the ultimate reality as love light, a state of pure, undifferentiated consciousness.
Right. Like we're all just part of this big cosmic soup of love and light. But if that's the case, how did we end up in this world of opposites, where there's so much conflict and division?
Well, the Law of One describes this process as the first distortion, the free will distortion. It's essentially the granting of free will to all aspects of creation, allowing each fragment of the creator to make its own choices and to kind of forge its own path.
So we're given this gift of free will,
Yeah.
and suddenly everyone's running around doing their own thing, creating their own little universes.
That's a very simplified way to put it, but yeah, you're capturing the essence. So within this exercise of free will, the potential for polarity arises.
Polarity, as in positive and negative.
That's exactly. As these fragments of the creator explored their newfound freedom, some chose to align with the principles of unity, love, and service to others. Others chose to focus on separation, self-interest, and the pursuit of power.
So it's not like there was this epic battle between good and evil or something. It was more like a gradual drift apart based on different choices and values.
That's a really nuanced way to understand it. The Law of One emphasizes that both polarities are valid expressions of the creator, each playing a role in this grand experiment of consciousness. It's through this exploration of duality that we learn and grow.
Okay, but if both polarities are valid, why is there so much conflict and suffering in the world? Doesn't that suggest one side is kind of messing things up?
Well, the Law of One's perspective on balance is really crucial here. They suggest that both polarities are necessary for growth and evolution, but that when one polarity dominates, it creates imbalance and disharmony.
So it's like a cosmic seesaw. When one side gets too heavy, the whole thing tips over.
That's a great analogy. The Law of One suggests that Earth is currently experiencing such an imbalance, with the negative polarity holding sway.
Okay, that explains a lot. But if this imbalance is a result of free will choices, does that mean we're just stuck with it? Like no
Nope.
cosmic intervention allowed?
The Law of One emphasizes the principle of non-interference. Higher dimensional beings are bound to respect our free will. They can offer guidance and support, but ultimately it's up to humanity to choose the path of balance and harmony.
So they can't just swoop in and fix everything for us.
They can't, and they wouldn't want to. The Law of One suggests that our challenges are actually opportunities for learning and growth. It's through those challenges that we evolve and awaken to our true potential.
Okay, that makes sense. But how do we even begin to shift this imbalance? When there's so much negativity in the world, it can feel pretty overwhelming sometimes.
Well, the Law of One emphasizes that the most effective way to counteract negativity is not through force or opposition, but through the radiating of love and compassion.
So fighting fire with fire doesn't work. But like drowning it in this giant wave of love does.
You're getting the essence of it. The Law of One suggests that love is the ultimate power in the universe, capable of dissolving negativity and restoring balance.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this all connects. So by making conscious choices that align with love, compassion, and service to others, we're not just improving our own lives, we're actually contributing to a cosmic shift.
Exactly. And the more individuals embrace this path, the stronger that ripple effect becomes, ultimately influencing the collective consciousness and shifting the balance towards harmony. It's like we're all tuning forks. And when one of us starts vibrating at a higher frequency, it resonates with others and raises that overall vibration.
Wow, that's incredibly empowering. But how do we even know if we're actually making a difference? It's not like we get a cosmic progress report every month or something.
Well, the Law of One suggests that the truest measure of our progress is not our external achievements, but the state of our hearts. It's about cultivating inner peace, compassion, and a genuine desire to serve the greater good.
So it's not about how much money we make or how many followers we have. It's about how much love we're radiating.
Precisely. The Law of One emphasizes that the journey of spiritual evolution is an inner one. It's a process of refining our consciousness and aligning with the love light of the Creator.
This is making me think of those people who just radiate peace and kindness, even in the face of challenges. Are they somehow further along in this path of spiritual evolution?
The Law of One would suggest that those who embody love and compassion They are indeed reflecting a higher level of consciousness. They've learned to tap into the power of time-space,
Yeah.
where unity and harmony prevail.
So it's not about achieving some lofty spiritual state. It's about embodying those qualities in our everyday lives.
Exactly. And the Law of One encourages us to see every interaction, every encounter, as an opportunity to practice love, to be a beacon of light in a world that often feels dark.
Okay, that's a challenge I'm willing to accept. But let's circle back to time space for a moment. If we do manage to shift the balance towards love and harmony, what happens to the negative polarity? Do they just vanish?
The Law of One suggests that both polarities will continue to exist, but that their relationship will evolve as consciousness expands. In higher densities, that separation between polarities becomes less pronounced, and there's a greater understanding and compassion between those who have chosen different paths.
So it's like we're all moving towards a greater understanding of each other, even those we perceive as different or opposite.
Exactly, and this process of integration is not just limited to individuals. It extends to entire civilizations and even planetary consciousness.
Wow, that's a mind-blowing thought.
Uh.
But if everything's ultimately merging towards unity, what's the point of this whole separation in the first place? Why go through all this drama and conflict?
Well, the Law of One offers a really profound perspective on this. They suggest that this journey of separation and reunification, of exploring all facets of polarity, it's an essential part of the creator's self-discovery. It's through our individual and collective experiences that the creator comes to know itself more fully.
So it's like the universe is on this giant quest for self-knowledge, and we're all playing a role in that grand adventure.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And the Law of One encourages us to embrace this journey with curiosity, compassion, and a sense of wonder.
Okay, that's an adventure I'm definitely on board with. This deep dive has been a wild ride for sure. But I'm walking away with a whole new perspective on reality, consciousness, and the power of choice. Thank you for guiding us through this fascinating exploration.
It's been my pleasure. Remember, the Law of One reminds us that we are beings of infinite potential, capable of creating a world that reflects the harmony and love that lie at the heart of creation.
And on that note, we'll leave our listeners with one final thought to ponder. If time-space is truly the realm of infinite possibilities, what reality will you choose to create?
Until next time, may you journey in love and light.